Quick disclaimer before the video begins. I tried to upload this multiple times in different ways, different edited formats, and it kept getting blocked in all countries by Warner Brothers. So the solution that I came up with was putting a gigantic frame around the video. So I'm sorry if that looks bad. I'm sorry if it's distracting. It's the only way that I could get this video out, and I really wanted to get this video out. Anyways, sorry in advance, and thank you for watching. When I say the word artist, what comes to mind? Famous painters like Van Gogh, Da Vinci, or Frida? Do you think of sculptors like Donatello? Maybe you think of a playwright like Shakespeare, or a screenwriter like Tarantino. Do actors pop into your head? Voice actors? Video game developers? What is an artist to you? To me, an artist is someone who creates, someone who hopes, and someone who not only fights for what they believe in, but inspires others to do the same. Nowhere is that more apparent than in the story of a young man named Speed Racer is a 2008 anti-capitalist box office bomb about the titular character, Speed Racer, trudging through a money-centric world that wants to see him fail. However, through his determination and perseverance, he ends up on top. This incredible CGI live-action hybrid movie is one of the most inspirational stories I've ever seen. It's about facing your fears, it's about following your dreams, it's about love, sacrifice, and doing what you believe is right, even if the world around you attempts to break your spirit. For some background, this movie is based on an anime of the same name that I had zero knowledge of as a kid and still have since never seen. But if it's anything like this movie, it must be damn good. Hey, this is Antonio editing the video. I just watched some clips from the anime, and
Are you my brother? Are you my brother, Rex Racer? Oh! Oh! He's going over that cliff.
Papa!
My daughter.
Oh, but
Oh!
now you'll have enough money to enter the multi-peak race. Isn't that wonderful? Oh, Speed, we're all so proud of you for what you've done.
anyway, I just thought I'd share those. Back to the video. I grew up watching this movie here and there when I was younger, and eventually completely forgot about it until a few months ago, where me and my girlfriend sat down to watch a movie, and I decided to throw it on for a quick nostalgia trip or a laugh, depending on how awful the movie was. What I was greeted by was a stylistic marvel that still blew me away by today's standards, and a heartfelt story that left me rethinking my own path in life. I feel that many people can relate to Speed's struggles and how he gets shot down by the world, and I'm excited to share it with you. So without further ado, here's Speed Racer 2008. The movie starts off with a flashback of Speed's life and the reasons for his aspirations. He has trouble at school and constantly daydreams about racing like his older brother. We're given context of his family and how they own their own motor company called Racer Motors, and are somewhat well known. Later in the flashbacks, we're given details about Rex's racing career and how eventually things spiraled out of control, leading to his death. More on that later. Unrelated, Rex also receives a pipe bomb. Interspersed in these scenes of the past is the race of the present, where Speed is far ahead of all the other racers, now racing the ghost of his older brother, who holds the course record.
He's coming hard!
Even though he was set to beat his late brother's time, at the last second he slows down in order to preserve his legacy.
Second late. That record still stands.
Finally, to finish off this intro sequence, we're introduced to another character, which, if you hadn't guessed from one of the commentators literally saying,
Folks, I knew Rex Racer, and if he's up there somewhere watching this race, you can bet your ass he's damn proud of his little brother.
and then panning to some guy shrouded in darkness, is likely related to Rex Racer in some way, foreshadowing his role in the movie by panning to his awesome yellow and black car. This whole intro manages to be funny, stylish, emotional, and action-packed, all while maintaining a fast pace. Keep in mind, all of this setup happens within the first 15 minutes of the movie, which is absolutely no time wasted. The distinct fast-paced editing, coupled with an emphasis on flair, contributes to creating a pretty cool style for the movie. The bright colors of the racers contrasted on the dark tracks is something I really like, and they use these colors and shapes to contrast the artists with the money-centric business people kind of regularly. After all of this, we're brought to the meat of the movie, being an artist and standing up for what you believe in. We get some funny monkey hijinks, and are introduced to Royalton, the head of Royalton Industries, who comes in and schmoozes up the Racer family to try and get them to sign on with his company.
I knew at once this was no mere driver I was watching. This was an artist.
By calling Speed an artist outright, he lulls him into this false sense of security and understanding, going so far as to call his company his own family in this next bit.
I've had this wonderful opportunity to meet your family. All I'm asking for is the chance to introduce you to mine.
This is a very anti-wealth movie, so this facade does not last.
Money.
After visiting the racing equivalent of the military-industrial complex, the Racer family is sat down in a suite to talk business with Royalton, where he attempts to persuade them into his offer.
Impressed?
This kind of company scares me. And if Speed wants us to figure out some kind of an alliance, then you can bet your ass we'll be in business.
Isn't the kind of offer I go around making every day, son.
Oh, I understand that, sir. So if I had to give you an answer now then, to be honest...
Stop right there. You're right. You should think about it.
Speed and Royalton make a deal on coming to a decision later. Then, we cut to the next scene in the movie. Before we do that though, now is a good time as any to talk about how incredible this movie looks. Throughout this entire office scene, you can see all of these cool little contraptions on the side with all these fun little wacky gizmos and whatnot. And obviously it's not high fidelity like the VFX of today, but the way they use the abilities of 2008 CGI is incredibly smart, stylistic, and it immerses you into this completely different world. The Racer family's home is so unique and cool looking, and the whole world is saturated and glossy. There are some scenes later that I wish I could play in full, but Warner Brothers would have my head, so I'll stick to shortened clips. Honestly, I'd rather you just go watch the movie. This video will still be here when you come back. Anyway, back to the Shadow the Hedgehog wannabe being beat up in the back of a semi-truck. This is where the movie less ambiguously introduces one of its main conflicts, a racing mob that controls racers' wins and losses, and this racer, Teiju Togakan, has severely upset them.
But I thought of another solution.
This is when we're introduced to the coolest Speed Racer character, Racer X, who is essentially Batman for racing. This scene somehow ups the ante in the style department, blowing the last few completely out of the water, with the semi-truck being turned into a war machine and Racer X fighting the truck with his car. It may not seem important to the point I'm making with this movie, but this conflict specifically plays back into the racing is art plot Speed is going through. Here's some of my favorite clips from this part. The next scene of this movie emphasizes the message of the film, with Speed having a conversation with his girlfriend Trixie about the deal he's been offered with Royalton.
I just said it was tempting.
Why?
They win a lot of majors.
And since when did winning become so important?
It is important. You gotta win if you want to keep driving, and that's what I want to do.
The reason I relate so heavily with this scene is how directly he addresses things in a realistic way. While he doesn't really care about winning, and may have to do some things that he won't enjoy, he feels that it might be the correct path in order to continue racing. It's a lot like how I felt about my career path and where I was heading in life, and how I was taught that I wouldn't enjoy everything if I wanted to pursue what I wanted.
It's the only thing I really know how to do.
This conversation is awesome, and I'm glad the movie takes it seriously, especially with the artist angle that it's taking for Speed. It's very heartfelt and grounded. Afterwards, we get some awkward romance and funny monkey.
Oh, God. I'm gonna hurl. Wasn't my idea.
Oh no?
It was his.
The monkey!
And then we head to the next scene, which introduces our main conflict. The antithesis of art and creativity. The commercialization of passion. Greed. The reason that these large companies like Royalton want to have the best racers is in order to sell more car parts and to create monopolies using the winning reputation of the manufactured cars. Speed comes in to give Royalton his decision. Although there is now a much more sinister air in the room, again, this is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. You'll be hearing that a lot. It's insanely well written, and it's got a storytelling style I haven't really seen. They sit down at a table with a comically large amount of contract papers and begin their conversation, where Speed talks about what racing means to his family and how it's more than just a sport, and how he can't take the deal because of it.
But when my brother died, I can't tell you how painful that was. It nearly killed all of us, especially Pops. He didn't set foot in his shop for over a year. But one night, when I was still pretty young, I couldn't sleep, and I went into the living room, and there was Pops in his beat-up robe, watching some old race recordings. All of a sudden, Pops started screaming. And as Burns and Stickleton duked it out, heading for the finish, we were cheering our heads off. Racing's in our blood. It isn't just a sport. It's way more important than that. I don't mean to offend you, sir, and I do appreciate your offer. But after all we've been through, I don't think this kind of deal's for me.
However, after this heartfelt address filled with passion for racing and a true love for the sport, Royalton shows his true colors.
You poor naive chump. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that load of sickening schmaltz, and I'm going to give you a bit of an education, and at the end of it, if you're smart, you'll thank me, and then you'll sign that contract.
Look, there is the true spirit of the golden age of racing, the 5 most powerful men in the world at the turn of the last century.
Interesting that you and your father were so moved by the 43 Prix.
One of the great finishes in the history of racing, right? Cirrus Aeronautics saw almost a 12-point gain, which immediately blocked Peninsula Power Cell from being able to afford the price of a complete takeover. This put Joel Goldman, the CEO of Iodine Inc., in the exact position he wanted to be in. By first buying controlling interest in his own company at a devalued price, he then brokered a merger with Cirrus that immediately sent Iodine into the Gaines record book, the only record book that matters. That's what racing is about. It has nothing to do with cars or drivers. All that matters is power and the unassailable might of money.
He reveals to Speed that even the race that filled his father and himself with passion, the Ben Burns race from so long ago, was fixed.
They met to negotiate the finish order of the Grand Prix. No race is more important, and no race is more controlled.
Speed is dumbfounded, and Royalton continues to push him to sign the contract and become a
real race car driver.
This next bit of monkey business is actually really important later, by the way. Then, Royalton pulls the sickest soul read on Speed and tells him exactly how this next race will go down.
If that's your idea of racing, you can keep it.
You're gonna go to Fuji, and you're gonna try and prove that everything I just told you is nothing but a lie. But no matter how well you drive, you won't win, you won't place. I guarantee you right now, you won't even finish the race.
Spliced behind this incredible conversation is the actual race, where Royalton explains exactly what's going to happen. Essentially, he says that Speed will crash due to one of Royalton's racers using a spearhook, and further threatens his family with legal action.
The legitimacy of the lawsuits won't matter. They'll be enough to discredit his company. Whatever contracts he has, he'll lose. After that, you and the rest of your pathetic family will be history.
We get more banter between them, and then Speed says,
I'll see you in Fuji.
You just made the biggest mistake of your life!
It cuts to after the race has already happened, with everything Royalton explained to Speed coming true. While Speed is moping in the locker room, Ben Burns walks up to him, the inspiration for his racing career. He asks him if he knew he was going to win that passion-defining race, and he gets back a cryptic answer. One that seems to mean yes.
You know, everybody thought that me and Stickleton hated each other. Funny, ain't it?
Everything is falling apart for the Racer family at this point, with Speed being blamed for the accident in Fuji, just like Royalton said, and the legitimacy of the lawsuit not mattering, again, just like he said.
The Fuji Helixicon seems destined to become another mark of shame.
Speed is now jaded and bitter, realizing that the truth doesn't matter anymore, and that the art that he loves so dearly is truly controlled, not by passion, but by money.
How can we fight this?
The truth will come out.
Don't be naive, Pops.
In the beginning of this great conversation with his mom, who supports his decision to not race with Royalton, he concedes to the idea that his beloved art is not truly about racing, and it's not meant to be enjoyed, but meant to make money.
I may have really messed things up by not joining Royalton. Maybe Royalton's right and racing's all about business, and anyone who doesn't understand that is just a chump.
Earlier in my life, I was always so excited to become an engineer. I wanted to invent things and make people happy with my creations, but as I got older and more people talked to me about it, the only thing they'd focus on when I said I wanted to be an engineer was how much money I would be making. It was never a question of why I wanted to be an engineer, but an exclamation of, "That's really smart, those jobs pay a lot." I started thinking like them. I started thinking that that was all that mattered. Go to college to get a good job, to pay for a big house, and work 40 hours a week making HVAC systems or buildings. It isn't really what I truly wanted, but it's what was pushed on me. I had been deep in this trance for a while until I watched this movie with my girlfriend, and I started asking myself who I wanted to be. It's another reason why I like this movie so much.
Now you listen to me, young man. What you do behind the wheel of a race car has nothing to do with business. I feel like I'm watching someone paint or make music. I go to the races to watch you make art. And it's beautiful and inspiring and everything that art should be.
Oh yeah, and then Batman shows up to the Racer family's door and asks them for help with his mission to expose corporate crimes. Basically, the racer Teijo Togakan, the Shadow the Hedgehog wannabe from earlier, is being forced to lose races by the aforementioned racing mob so Royalton can buy out his father's racing company at an unreasonably low price. What Inspector Gadget over here is saying is that Speed could help Teijo win a high-profile team race with Racer X in order to raise the buyout cost, which would kill it. The reason that they want to help is because Teijo is in possession of documents that link Royalton to Block, the mob boss. Except, there's one big problem.
This is a cross-country rally. Casa Cristo.
What?
Of course, that is the same race that Rex was killed in, so Pops quickly objects, out of fear.
Absolutely not. I'm sorry, Inspector, but I've already lost one son to that death trap. I won't lose another.
But Speed plans on going anyways. We get a juxtaposed version of Trixie and Speed's conversation from earlier in a determined scene to fight against the machine that has distorted the sport of racing.
Felt as though he had his hand inside my chest and he was trying to crush everything in my life that mattered to me.
As a result, they decide to go to the Casa Cristo race in order to support Teijo and Racer X. They also come up with a lie to tell Pops.
I guess we're going skiing.
Moving on to before the race, there's some more monkey business. Pops calls his son Spritle white.
You're too pale!
Then we get an upgrade montage for the Mach 5. Which isn't very important to the plot, and I can't show it to you because Warner Brothers hates me. Then we cut to Teijo's planning with his sister, which is foreshadowing for later.
I've no choice.
Why?
He's your father too.
Speed realizes that Rex died doing exactly what he's doing now, which strengthens his resolve.
He was trying to change this rotten business and they killed him for it.
Before the race begins, we have a small scene where the racer, Snake Oiler, is freaking out that he may lose the race, as he was rigged to win it.
For 8 years, I played by the rules. This is supposed to be my race.
Enough!
I don't want to show you too much of the race, so you're incentivized to go watch the movie yourself, but here are some good highlights.
Have any of these drivers read the rule book?
It's Speed!
Speed skiing.
Then who's driving the Mach 5?
One of my favorite things about this part is that all of the racers going after Speed were paid by the racing mob, and we get a fun scene of how each of them was paid. After this leg of the race, Tejo is upset because they're losing, then goes to bed, leaving Speed and X to briefly talk before Speed heads back to his room with Trixie.
Racer X, I thought we made a good team today. Felt like we've been doing it for a long time.
If you say so.
This interaction leads Speed to wonder if Rex is really dead, or if he's just now Racer X. Would Rex really sacrifice his family in order to change racing? Suddenly, Speed's family is there.
Yeah.
This next conversation between Speed and Pops is really well written. Pops is just scared of losing another son, and Speed is determined to do what he can to get back at Royalton and the people who have perverted racing.
We're in serious trouble, Pops, and it's all my fault.
You think you can drive a car and change the world? It doesn't work like that.
But it's the only thing I know how to do, and I gotta do something.
I absolutely love this exchange. It resonates with me so deeply. The sincerity of this scene helps Speed shine through as not only an artist, but a man of integrity. He's not willing to stand by and watch his passion be further ruined. He's going to take a stand, and in the only way he knows how.
If you want to fire me as your driver, then fine, do it.
God, you sound like Rex!
After some more bitter exchanges, Pops heads to the garage to work on the car to begrudgingly help his son win the race.
Sparky!
Now it's time for Poison and some pretty awesome fight choreography. The Racer family is luckily saved by the annoying little guy Spritle, waking everybody up after spotting the ninja in their room. And then Pops murders him by throwing him around and then out the window.
More like a ninja.
Because Tejo got poisoned, they have to devise a plan to still race and make sure Tejo wins.
That's better. Couldn't see a thing.
This is where we get some more awesome racing scenes. Same thing as earlier, go watch the movie. After they hit a dead spot in the mountain with no cameras, and they have a significant lead, they switch Trixie for Tejo. Which is where they get ambushed by goons coming to save the mob boss, who was apprehended earlier by Tejo. It's almost a disservice to cut this scene down in any capacity. Oops. They use the snow as a way to show impact and action, and I think that's incredible. I adore this movie style, and this is just one of the best examples of it. The music is also incredible, but I can't play it for you. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. After everything is taken care of, we get some more awesome racing, and I'm just gonna show you some more highlights because the colors here are awesome and the car moves are still insane. If you want more, again, like I said earlier. You know, this Warner Brothers guy is kind of like a stickler for copyright, huh? Like I'm just trying to let more people know about this completely underrated gem that you guys have, but I guess it is kind of like you, considering the fact that you hate things that are good, and and you hate me, and you hate me personally. By winning this race, Speed feels like he's gotten back at the corporations that rule racing, even if he didn't make it to the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, he doesn't know that he's played right into their hands. While Toga-Con does ask for more money and Royalton objects, he actually reluctantly agrees to the price, buying out the company anyway.
I have the paperwork drawn up.
This causes both Speed and Racer X to feel betrayed. The exact thing that Speed didn't want to happen, happened. He raced for the stock prices. He placed in the real Hall of Fame. Like Royalton said. Speed doesn't take this very well. As he races angrily across this course that he and his older brother had raced on over and over again, he's joined by Racer X, who he swiftly kills in a fit of rage. When they both stop, Racer X talks to him and Speed immediately confronts him about being Rex, but surprisingly, it's revealed that it isn't Rex.
I'm sorry, but your brother is dead.
After Speed is taken aback by the fact that it isn't him, they have a conversation about how Rex would be proud of him, and how he fights to make a difference.
Racing hasn't changed and it never will.
It doesn't matter if racing never changes. What matters is if we let racing change us. You don't climb into a T-180 to be a driver. You do it because you're driven.
Like a car.
If you know so much, why don't you tell me why I should keep driving?
That's for you to figure out. I just hope when you do, that I'm there to see it.
Now we have a parallel to the beginning of the movie. Speed is following in the same footsteps as Rex, feeling as he needs to change racing in the same way he did. In a way, he isn't heeding Racer X's warning. He's going to let these struggles change him, giving in to the inevitability by telling Spritle that he'll understand when it's his turn, implying that this is a cycle, and it will continue. The biggest difference now is that Pops has been given time to process the death of his son. He's also been given time to reflect on what he did, what he said, and it leads to one of the best father-son conversations I've seen in really any movie. By juxtaposing this scene with the one from earlier, the film highlights Pops' growth as a father. Instead of getting upset and kicking Speed out, he's calm and collected. He laments on what he's done. He recognizes his son's hurt artistic integrity and he wants to fight the powers that be, and he's proud of him for it. He lives with the regret that he lost his son because of his fears, but he has to hope to be better, more supportive, and more understanding.
When Rex died, I didn't even know if I wanted salt on my eggs, let alone keep building cars. You remember that night we sat together, we watched old Ben Burns and Stickleton, you remember that? That night something just clicked. After that I never had trouble remembering how I liked my eggs.
After their heart-to-heart, Haruko Toga-Con, the sister of Tejo Toga-Con, comes to them with a proposition. Unlike her brother, she feels that what they did to Speed and Racer X was wrong, so she gives the Grand Prix invitation that was given to Tejo to Speed.
Wipe the smiles from their faces.
Thank you.
I would say good luck Saturday, but you don't need it.
In the final montage of the movie, the Racer family builds a car in 32 hours, while Toga-Con closes his deal with Royalton. The Racer family building this car in 32 hours is significant because Royalton said his machines could do it in 36. There's not much to say here other than it's really cool seeing the event being set up while all the other characters work on something for the Grand Prix, and that it's nice seeing Speed's family come together to help him win. After some more conflict with Royalton, Speed is finally able to get into the race. This is when a bounty is immediately put onto his head by Royalton.
$1 million to the driver that takes out Racer.
It's also mentioned that Royalton's Racer has a spear hook, the illegal item from earlier's monkey business. We get a cool montage of Speed walking through the crowd of people who fully intend to kill him, and then Speed has a heart-to-heart with his mechanic.
I want to say thank you for what could be the most exciting moment of my whole life.
Couldn't have gotten here without you.
This is the scene. This final race is what solidified this movie as one of my favorite movies of all time.
Ooh, that kid is wily.
As much as I would love to show you this whole scene, I can't for obvious reasons, but it should be all the more reason for you to just go watch the movie. The amount of style and flair this final scene has is insane. For the first half of the scene, we see Speed dominating the race, moving from dead last to the top positions. He spirals and flips and car kicks other cars, avoiding all of these attacks beautifully on an incredibly gorgeous track. Finally catching up to Cannonball Taylor, the racer in first place, Speed pulls off some cool moves and swiftly takes the lead.
Get that weak shit off my track!
When Speed is just about to beat Taylor, he uses the spear hook, which would end this race just like the race in Fuji. Even though Speed feels his hope of winning is lost, he uses one last move to expose Taylor as using a spear hook. In this way, he beats Royalton, but he loses the race. The car is dead. While Speed has exposed Royalton for being a cheater, he's still behind. All the cars are going right past him. The starter is fried, and it looks like there isn't anything he can do. It's in this moment that he takes Rex's advice from so long ago. He listens to the car, and by extension, his heart. He's not going to lose this race just because of some cheating. He's going to let his passions shine through. With his experience and his determination, he gets the car to start and begins playing the catch-up game, now unhindered. This is when we get to see Speed make his art. We see the artistry in the way he drives, culminating in this final scene, his motivation, his resolve.
You do it because you're driven.
You ready to put away your toys and grow up? Are you ready to become a real race car driver?
And you just take my breath away.
You remember that night we sat together, we watched old Ben Burns' Stickleton? That night something just clicked.
It doesn't matter if racing never changes. What matters is if we let racing change us.
When I'm in a T180, I don't know. Everything just makes sense.
It ends in a beautiful explosion of color. After he wins, after that checkered flag, there's silence. The cheers around him are muffled. In the background, this moment is about himself. This moment is about the art that he created. The path of an artist, in many cases, is a lonely one. This personal and silent scene is for Speed only, and the only thing that mattered to him was his art. He didn't do this for the flashing lights, the stock prices, or the screaming voices. He did this for himself. Then, as the screams fade in, as the blurred lights become clear, we see that he's back with the people that made it possible. The people who believed in him. The people who wanted to see him succeed. after all of this, we tie up loose ends with a final twist that I won't spoil for people who haven't watched the movie, but if you know, you know. Art is something innately human. Being an artist is innately human. When we see real passion, real belief in oneself, we're drawn to it. That last half of the final race scene is this movie's way of saying, believe in yourself, fight for what you think is right, and never give up your passions. We live in a world, unfortunately, adverse to art. A world where we're told to work, make the most money we possibly can, and then die. This is not what humans were meant to do. We are creatures of creation. We build incredible devices and thinking machines, one of which you're probably using to watch this video. We engineer skyscraping buildings with an artistic flair where there's no need to be one. We decorate laptops and water bottles with stickers and cases. We sew patches and wear outfits to feel confident and distinct. We paint pictures, we write movies, we race cars, we make art. This movie is a work of art. One that's about being an artist. Being an artist who doesn't care about money, about fame, about power, just an artist. An artist that knows that even though the world is against him in creating his art, it's all he knows how to do, and he's gotta do something. I've always known that I wasn't the best at things I loved. I'm not the best at video games, I'm not the best pianist, I'm not the greatest engineer or the smartest mathematician. I can't draw very well, I can't paint very well, but like all of you, I'm an artist, and I intend to put my fingerprint on everything I do. I hope that this movie will inspire you to do the same. So, that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around for so long. I really appreciate it. And if you liked it, consider leaving a like, consider subscribing, and if you really liked it, share it with other people. I really want to get this message out, because I was really inspired by this movie, and it really means a lot to me. This video is a passion project, first and foremost. This video was made because of this drive that this movie gave me. And how did you feel? You know, I want to see what you guys feel in the comments. So you know, if you want to take some time, leave a comment. Let me know what you think of not only this video but about the movie. And this video wasn't supposed to take this long to make. I've been working at it for about 3 or 4 months now. I started making the video in July, and you know, it's my first crack at it, so it was a learning experience. But you know, I think I'm gonna continue doing this. I think I'm gonna keep making videos. Maybe not this same style, but you know, I'm just gonna keep making videos that I think are fun. I'm just gonna keep, you know, just make things that appeal to me, you know, because now I have that feeling in me, that artistic drive, that burning passion to make, you know, and this is how I want to do it. I want to make YouTube videos. I want to put myself out there. So again, thank you a lot for sticking around this long, and really, you know what, I think that's it. So fellas, I think I'm out. I'll see you later.